So why is it time to be bullish on the altcoin market right now? First off, because that's the opposite of the sentiment. And trading the opposite of the sentiment has made people a lot of money. And that will always be the case in crypto. But I want to show you a little more than just that, right? So let's take a look at some charts that suggest like, hey, we're sitting in a good opportunity right now, but there is something to look forward to. So welcome to the Fomo Factory. Fuck the bears, subscribe to the channel, turn the bell notification on, okay? Why do I say that? Because it's so funny actually how these markets work, right? We have times in the market where things go up and then people are, of course, very, very, very bullish. So that's not really the right direction, because what you want to buy when things are high, right? But we also have times in the market like the altcoin market right now, especially on its Bitcoin pair, where it's going down, and that's where people are bearish. Now, that's actually a good thing. As I said many times before, crypto is player versus player, and these are the people that we are playing against, right? So it shouldn't be hard. The only thing is patience, right? Patience. And today I want to go over a couple things that maybe we haven't looked at before on this channel, to give a little different perspective on everything. So first off, look, the altcoin market right now is still sitting at this trend line right here, where it was before it went into alt season 2021 and into alt season 2017. In 2021, we were there in January, and here we were there in March, right? It's now February. So is this time different? No, so far it hasn't been different. Could it be different in the future? Of course, but it is not. Otherwise, the charts would have shown us, right? So that's already one thing. But also, you know, it's just always the case that when we are down here, the sentiment is bad. So there could be people that tell you like, yeah, but now, no, back then there was also a but now. And here there was also a but now, right? But still, alt season, right? So let's take a look at a couple of things right here. Because there has been talking about Bitcoin and a left translated cycle. Now, myself, not really a believer in that thesis. And the biggest reason is actually I'd like to see something before I believe it, right? It's with Bitcoin especially, every single cycle, it was very easy to say like, oh yeah, now it's going to end soon. Now it's going to end soon, because within the cycle, it always moves a little different. But that never happened, right? We have the top end of 2013, 17 and 2021. So of course, the most logical thing for me to assume is that the top will be somewhere around the end of 2025. However, is it possible that we maybe get a little sooner or later? And what would that mean for altcoins? Well, if Bitcoin is going to top out sooner, right? And with sooner, I mean Q1 or 2, like a left translated cycle would suggest. Would that be a bad thing for the altcoin market? Look, what we have seen so far, if we go back to this alt season chart, as I like to call it, what we have seen so far, every single time, if we overlay Bitcoin on this chart, we can see the following. Bitcoin, the purple line, let's make a line where it tops out, right? Which was here, and Bitcoin topped out here. Now, every single time so far when Bitcoin topped out, the alt season basically kind of like didn't just start or anything, but it wasn't the right time to sell your altcoins yet, right? Here, the altcoin market was sitting at like 10% of Bitcoin's market cap. Right? And it eventually went all the way to around 30% of Bitcoin's market cap. Now, Bitcoin went from 20K to 15K or so, right? So, yeah, although Bitcoin is a little lower than, right, altcoins were worth way more on their Bitcoin pair. So even Bitcoin went into a bear market, it was still a fantastic time for altcoins. Now, that's just one cycle. Let's take a look at the last cycle. Bitcoin topped out right here in November, and alt season stopped in January, 2 months later, right? So even based on this, if we do get a left translated cycle, it doesn't mean that it is over for altcoins. That would basically mean, okay, Bitcoin is in a bear market. Now let's see what altcoins on the Bitcoin pair are going to do. Are they going to go down with it? Yeah. then the prices are going to be low. However, if it's going to do what the last two cycles did, yeah, then let go get that bear market for Bitcoin, but people will move into altcoins. And the narrative also kind of makes sense in my opinion, because without a real alt season or whatever you want to call it, or at least a good move for altcoins, people will probably feel like, yeah, we can cash out to the bank, but the money flow isn't complete yet, right? Bitcoin, high caps, low caps, cashing out. Then it was just Bitcoin, some coins here and there, and then cashing out. It's like, nah, there's still money to make if we move it a little bit. So I don't see the cycle ending without altcoins, having a really good moment of outperformance. Now, what is interesting again, look, we are now in the stage where you don't want to sell, right? Like, it is very simple. We have a pretty clear market cycle on altcoins on the Bitcoin pair as well, right? What's that exactly? Well, markets move in these kind of cycles, right? You have accumulation areas, you have uptrends where you make your money. So accumulation areas where you buy, uptrends where you make money. Then you have a small, distribution phase where it's time to load off. And then you have a downtrend. That's where you do nothing, basically. And then it starts over again, right? We have an accumulation phase. We have an uptrend where you make your money. We have a distribution phase and we have a downtrend. Now we're here. Look, you could say like, we're still in the middle of the downtrend. And technically that's kind of true, right? I mean, we have been making lower lows and lower highs. However, at a certain point, you want to look at everything and you want to look at the time in the market, where we are and how much. Then you want to realize like, yeah, do I really want to time the bottom? Or is it maybe a good idea to already get exposure? Because the risk of missing out is now way more dangerous than the risk of being in the market, right? Even if you go down 20, 30% in the meantime, because for the same case, people were waiting on an accumulation area right here. Like, oh, we go down, it's downtrend. Oh, we go up again. It's just, ranging, hovering, the bull trap, dead cat bounce, whatever. And then it's like, oh, fuck, wait a minute. Maybe it's real, right? Let's buy. Yeah, the fuck was that? Like, that's also not what you want to do, right? So in that case, it is maybe a good time to feel like, okay, you know what? Let's get in right now, right? There are also people, they do it the other way around. Of course, they, bullish, let's buy, drag, fuck, sell. That's not the way you want to do it, okay? And it sounds very obvious, but you have no idea. Maybe you do, by the way, but the comments on this channel, on other channels, on Twitter, people selling, shorting, whatever, not buying right now. It's like this, like it happens a lot, right? So it's also some kind of retail. There are a lot of new people in crypto, right? There are a lot of, because the people who have been into a cycle before, they're generally not scared or whatever right now. They know how this is, right? They feel like, yeah, okay, whatever. It's same as last cycle. It's a freaking opportunity, right? So, not too mad about that. Now, in the meantime, the Bitcoin dominance is still going up, right? And I look at the Bitcoin dominance without stablecoins right here. So there are two ways to look at this. One is uptrend. Bitcoin rules, Bitcoin dominates, uptrend. No altcoins yet. Fine. There's also another way to look at it. The last capitulation that we had brought us all the way to the 786, right? Happened to be there. Got rejected right there. Right? Now, that was the last capitulation wick candle in early 2025, right? And if you look at this right here, in early 2021, so last cycle before alt season started, we also had some kind of a final like capitulation wick after Bitcoin dominance went higher, right? And that was it. That marked the top eventually. Now, you can call every wick a top, right? And that eventually will work for you, right? You just call the top here, 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 and here. And if it was this, you were right. Congratulations. But there's also another way to look at this. Because if we now have to believe what the Fed is, well, not saying, but suggesting, they say QT is going to stop somewhere halfway 2025. Now, we have seen this chart before. The stop of QT is kind of a copy of alt season, right? So far. It's 10 years of data. It's not the entire world history. But if it depends on that, then it's pretty safe to say like, okay, then we are likely getting an alt season, right? And for the people that have no idea what I'm talking about, it's alt season chart basically. And if you overlay the Fed balance sheet right here, then you can see that the Fed balance sheet was just going sideways, right? So no QT, no QE, nothing. And that was fine. That was enough in order to get a fat-ass alt season. However, at the moment that QT started right here, right, they reduced the balance sheet. You see that altcoins on the Bitcoin pair, they are the riskiest asset within this within this whole sector, right? So they get hit most. Bitcoin doesn't really care about this. Altcoins on the Bitcoin pair, they do, right? As soon as that happened, alt season immediately stopped. But then, when the money printer got turned on and QE started, you can see alt season, and here we have one little flush out on the because Bitcoin was mooning right there, and it was just a moment for Bitcoin. But then alt season really again in full glory, and again right here, QT began, and we went into a non-alt season. So you can say whatever you want. Based on this chart, we actually always have alt season unless there is QT. Now, it's likely that QT is going to end halfway this year. Do with that whatever you want. Now, it's not a guarantee or anything that it's going to happen again, but hey, it has a pretty good win rate, right, so far. However, what's interesting, if you ask me, is that usually when the Fed announces that they are going to stop QT or getting QT or getting QE or whatever, they just, bam, announce it. They do it, right? And then the market responds to that. This time, we already have some kind of a announcement of that. So I wonder, is that then already priced in as well, right? What I mean, if you look at last cycle when QT stopped, which was here, right? Hey, altcoins on the Bitcoin pair bottomed a couple weeks before that. So could it be that, and that without an announcement, right? So could it be that now we have an announcement that altcoins on the Bitcoin pair have already bottomed? Could be, right? At least whenever QT stops, I feel somewhat pretty sure to say that the bottom is then in. And what it does in the meantime, we'll see. We'll see. I wouldn't be surprised. Do note, I mean, it's a big wick to take out, right? And yeah, we have a couple months for that. Overall, we're still in a downtrend, so it could be. Overall, does it matter? Look, if you are trying to time the bottom, yeah, then it matters a lot. You should stress. You feel panic. You should not sleep. Beat your wife, smack your kid, do everything wrong in life, right? Just feel, but don't try to time the bottom. That's worse than wife beating. That won't work, right? So I would say, hey, with that news, with this chart, right? With the way that Bitcoin is going right now, with the fact that Ethereum on its Bitcoin pair is looking extremely great as a buy, with everything combined, just DCA now, right? It's not financial advice, but I really want to take that education so I can tell you this is financial advice purely for that. So I am like that. So I would say, look at that, right? I made a video not too long ago about the fact that Solana is now looking shit and Ethereum is looking good. And that's really good for altcoins. What do I mean? Solana's looking shit for the people that may have missed this. Well, if you look at Solana on its Bitcoin pair, then this is what you see. This is a terrible fucking chart, period, right? You cannot, I don't care what you think about Solana as a network or whatever, you cannot look at this chart and be bullish on this chart. Absolutely not, right? However, if we look at Ethereum on its Bitcoin pair, hey, different way around, right? That's beautiful. So what we see right now is Solana had its moment where it was outperforming Bitcoin, went into a huge distribution phase, and is now losing all kind of support that it has left, right? So people, they probably look at Solana and be like, yeah, no, fuck no, I'm not gonna buy this, right? That would be weird. However, we now look at Ethereum, where Ethereum did the same, right? Went into a bear market, then it went into an outperformance phase, distribution phase, and broke all support. However, Ethereum already did all that, right? And Ethereum, it's funny that we can draw this line back to 2015. We have resistance here, we have support here, we have support here, support here. And now after this whole bear market, the final wick capitulation happened to coincidentally brought us back exactly to that trend line to the T. Crazy, right? And this horizontal support. And it bounced pretty hard from that. So it's nothing is a guarantee. But I think that, like, we all know that if we compare the Ethereum chart and the Solana chart, then it's obvious that the Ethereum chart is the chart you want to buy, right? Now, what we also mentioned in that video is that whenever Solana goes up, that doesn't bring altcoins up necessarily with it. Solana had its separate run, right? But it wasn't good for altcoins. And narrative-wise, it kind of makes sense, right? I mean, all the money on Solana went into meme coins that scammed. And that money went to the scammers. They created new meme coins that scammed. And it was all basically rotating between scammers and new retail that lost their money. But it was never helpful to really get it into crypto. Right now, the money that Ethereum is bringing into crypto is real, right? We can look at Ethereum right here. We can overlay the altcoin market as well. And we can kind of see that these charts are crazy alike. The only divergence was this little point right here. For the rest, everything completely the same, right? So what we need is, we don't need Solana. Fuck Solana, right? I love Solana as how fast it is, etc. Blah, 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 but it's not helping crypto. Ethereum is helping crypto. Now, it happened to be that Ethereum is looking fantastic at this moment, actually, right? So that is the narrative that makes me more bullish on altcoins, apart from the charts that we already look at. So although, like, yeah, it all just went a little up and it went a little down again, and the Bitcoin dominance shot up and etc. Whatever, right? I made that video also not too long ago where I said, like, guys, these are the average April or March returns for crypto, and that looks bullish. And somebody said, oh, that's bad timing for the video because we had the Bybit hack. Look, these kind of things, I don't care, man. I don't care. These are all these short-term things that happen. And although it was a huge freaking hack, by the way, but what did it really do? Like, it's still, uptrend, it's nothing happened, right? So these things that happen today might affect crypto today or next week or next month, maybe even. But for the rest of the bull market, it doesn't really matter, right? It doesn't matter. And what's the proof of that? Well, we had COVID, dude. Like, I think it's safe to say that was a little bigger than a Bybit hack, right? And what did it do? Yeah, I mean, it gave you one. If you were like shorting, then you made money, right? If you were longing, you got liquidated. But if you bought the dip, then you made like fucking a lot more money than if COVID didn't happen, right? But other than that, like, this was it, kind of this right here, right? And apart from that, the market just continued. And so if even that could not change anything, I feel like, man, these short-term things, especially very crypto related, I feel like, yeah, short term they can cause anything, but over the long term, who cares, right? So stop looking at the hour chart, the daily chart, or look too much what happens today or whatever, right? Like, let it go. Study the cycle. That's way more important than all these short-term things happening. And the cycle look just really, really good right now. There's no way around it. It just really looks good. Fed is at the debt ceiling as well, so that's a beautiful thing, right? Like, are they going to print their way out of it or not? Like, okay, well, let's see what they do, right? So the only thing what we know is that QE is not going to start anytime soon, and that's actually not that bad. Like, right? Like, yeah, the balance sheet won't go up any further anytime soon. But it doesn't really matter. Again, the biggest alt season that we had was during this right here, where the balance sheet was just flat. There was no tightening, was no easing, nothing, right? Just flat. So that showed like, okay, whatever. We don't need QE in order to see a good altcoin run. Now, again, last thing to wrap it up, I just want to make sure that you are at the right side of the coin, no pun intended, at the right side, at the right stage of the market, right? Because now it is very easy to be very bearish, right? Prices are low. So yeah, of course, the best thing without thinking and without like is just following your emotion and being bearish. It's easy, right? The hard thing right now is being bullish. But we also know that crypto is not going to reward the people that are doing the easy thing, right? Crypto is supposed to be easy. Otherwise, you were a billionaire, you wouldn't be watching my videos. I can tell you that. So if you're watching this, crypto isn't easy for you, right? It's also not easy for me. Definitely not. One thing, again, be bullish when it's low. It's also very easy to be bullish in the middle of a top alt season. Dude, if there are some OGs on the channel, let me know in the comments. In the middle of alt season, how easy was it to be bullish and over euphoric? Like it was like, it was, you could not ignore that, right? And it's kind of the same, but the other way around right now. Like, oh, it's all bearish, 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 right? I want to make sure that you are at the right side now, right? And again, that's if it's low, be bullish. If it's high, be bearish. It's all you got to fucking do, man. Everything, everything. So please do that. Please do that right now. Now, to wrap it up, if it is going to be a left translated cycle, what would that mean? Because there are some serious people in the crypto space that talk about it. I'm gonna say it's not my base case. Again, I want to see it play out first. So far, the cycle is just cycling, and I'm not gonna bet against the trend. That's just not working. But in case it does happen, and Bitcoin goes into a bear market, let's say, and the returns are diminishing, went from 88% to 83 to 77% down, right? Well, we now have institutions, Michael Saylor buying every shit up, never selling something. So let's say it's going to be 50% or whatever from the top. Bitcoin can go to 55K maybe. It's $1 trillion market cap, right? Well, if altcoins stay where they are right now, 14% of $1 trillion market cap, then it means that altcoins go to a $140 billion market cap. That happens to be around this area right here, by the way. So if Bitcoin goes into a 50% bear market and altcoins on the Bitcoin pair don't go down, then altcoins will be here, right? But like we saw earlier, every time Bitcoin goes into a bear market, altcoins start to drastically outperform Bitcoin, right? So let's say that we are now going to have a altcoin run, which will bring us to the 786 right here of around 42% of Bitcoin's market cap. Then still with a $1 trillion market cap, altcoins could have a market cap for Bitcoin, right? And altcoins dominating that with 42%. We could have a $420 billion market cap, which is close to the cycle high. So don't let it scare you. If people are going to say, or if it even happens, that Bitcoin is going to go into a bear market to 55K or whatsoever, maybe even lower, right? Like, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be so bad for altcoins. So let's see what happens. In my opinion, I wouldn't be surprised if it's going to be a longer cycle. This is not my prediction, by the way. Let that be very clear. But I wouldn't be surprised, actually. If we look at the altcoin chart especially, you can see lasting. We went into a bear market right here. Great. We went into a bear market right here. Then we had a rally of 300-ish%. Here we had a rally of 400%, kind of similar, right? Then we had a correction of 59%, that mid-cycle correction, right? Here we had a mid-cycle correction of 59%, if I've drawn it right. Then we went up with 130%. Here we went up with close to it, slightly more, 186% or so, right? And then we went into a crash. Without COVID, it was around 50%, 55%. With COVID, it was 70%, right? And what do we do right now? We went down so far 52%. And with COVID, it would take us here. COVID kind of, not again COVID, but no. So this is fucking insane, dude. Like, this is crazy. Sorry, my coffee just kicked in. But this is completely the same, right? Is it so weird to think that we're also going to have somewhat similar of a move like this? The only thing that's different is the time. Because this last correction, whatever you want to call it, that we are in, is playing out at the beginning of 2025. And here it was at the beginning of 2020. So this was the halving year. Now it's the post-halving year, right? So you could also argue that the cycle has moved 1 year to the right and that it all takes longer because more people are sticking with Bitcoin now before the altcoin run happens. I'm not saying that that's my base case, but it is something to consider, right? You should consider always like, all right, maybe there's a possibility, maybe this could happen, right? Like it could happen. If that is the case, then it's actually just a matter of holding on a little bit longer, right? Just hold on a little bit longer. DCA here. In what? Quality altcoins. Quality. Not the speculative shit that a lot of people buy today and feel like, oh, if I don't have a 2x tomorrow, then it's a fucking shit coin. Let me tell you, they're all fucking shit coins, right? But the quality altcoins, Ethereum, Ondo, maybe a little too hypey right now, I don't know, but good RWA projects, good layer one, some good DeFi protocols, some good whatever, right? Because they will probably survive for another year. And I can bet you that you can name any meme coin except Doge maybe, and it is very unlikely that they survive, or an AI whatever coin, or whatever the hell the hype is in a month or two, right? Therefore, being in the speculative coins right now, it's just a little too risky at this moment. You have to play a little on the defense in this downtrend right here. So it's a little double overall. All altcoins in the bull market. Yeah, I mean, here we go, right? Up, high highs, high lows. Again, altcoins on their Bitcoin pair in the bull market. No, but Bitcoin is going up hard enough to put this chart up on the dollar pair. All right, so it's all thanks to Satoshi once again, of course. Bitcoin is king. Remember that for the next cycle, okay? Now, yeah, I don't know. I want to leave it here. Just some random thoughts of everything that's possible. My base case is still alt season at this period. That's my base case. And when will I say like, okay, that's invalid now? I would say after April, right? And then my first prediction of 2 years ago was a little off anyway, right? I said end 2024, beginning 2025. I don't think April is to be considered beginning 2025. Fuck that. We have to go with the market, right? I would say, I think it's likely that it happens before April, or April at latest. And that's basically because that's how long it can kind of stay at this trend line, right? Maybe May, but man, that's kind of it, right? Also, because QT, the end of QT is kind of announced for mid-2025, and altcoins are likely going to bottom out before QT stops, right? So my base case is between now and April. My latest case is May, right? And if it didn't happen by then I think we really should consider the fact that this whole cycle is going to move a little bit to the right. I think a left translated cycle is unlikely. especially with the narratives for Bitcoin, right? Like it's kind of crazy what we have right now. So top out now. It's not all played out yet. So yeah, I want to leave it here. Guys, love you. No, maybe. Thanks for watching. Like the video. If you like the video, turn the bell notification on, subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you think of all of this. What do you agree with? What you disagree with? I want to know. See you soon.